Have you ever found yourself saying this phrase right here? The phrase that I'm about to say, I want you to stop and I want you to think about it. And I want you to kind of really think about, have you said this phrase before? Or, and, not or, and when, what was the moment that led you to saying this phrase? Because I found myself running into this circumstance where this phrase has been a phrase that I've said a few times in the last few months, and I am trying to go back and understand what it actually mean. Why am I saying it? What it actually means? Why am I saying this thing? Right? And the phrase that I'm talking about is not a I'm trying to build tension here. It's a common phrase, but I feel like sometimes it's only expressed when there seems to be it could be both ways. It could be extreme frustration or just you trying to gain clarity on something. All right, here's the phrase. The phrase is, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? Now, depending on how you're saying that phrase, it can resonate in a lot of different ways, right? You could say the phrase and it could be like, man, what do you want from me? Right? And that's kind of normal, right? Or you could find yourself in a situation where you're just like, man, what do you want from me? You see, that's a little bit more intense. There's a lot more behind that phrase right there. And that's what we're gonna start with, that phrase, right? That's where we're gonna start. We're gonna start talking about that phrase. What do you want from me? And what's behind the motive or the intent of that phrase? But before we do that, man, I am excited to be back on here, man. Listen, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Josh, and I am a former Christian hip hop artist, right? Did that for about 10 years and then moved my way to Florida and just started getting to some other things. God just started moving my life in a different path, and I was doing video for some time and still get to do that for a little while, and am now a preteen pastor working with 4th and 5th graders, which I enjoy and is such a great time. But I say that to say, if you're watching this or listening to this, it's probably on the YouTube channel, right? And those of you that are following me on the YouTube channel probably have followed me from Josh the Rapper, right? You probably know me as Josh the Rapper, and that's probably why you initially followed this channel. Or some of you may have started to see some of the teaching stuff that I've been putting out there and different things like that. So some of you probably tracking from that point. But nonetheless, we are, for 2026, launching back this Crazy Good Talks. Now, I want to slow walk this. I want the vibe to be a little bit different on this. Now, if you've tracked with me at all, you're going to realize that there have been multiple versions of Crazy Good Talks, right? Now, Crazy Good Talks started because, and I'm gonna give I'm gonna give a little bit more context just because we're kicking it back off and we're still trying to figure out what it's gonna be. We're still gonna try to figure it out. But if you follow me, if you track for me for any amount of time, you'll realize that like I've tried different versions of Crazy Good Talks. It started years ago, when I just started. I was reading a lot and I was just taking in and consuming a lot of information. And I was just like, man, you know what? I need a space to process what I'm learning in real time. Like I need a space where it's not about necessarily having all of the correct answers, but I need a space where I am a verbal processor. Okay. My wife understands this now about me. Okay. I am a verbal processor. I have to say it out loud for me to start to understand it. So, back then we started doing that. So it started just being recordings just like this, with me kind of exploring 3 different ideas that I was kind of learning, and kind of not just that, but just kind of framing it for you, the listener, the audience, in a way that you might be able to see some of it maybe in your life and pattern, and be able to take some of those curiosities and explore that, how you're living. So it was kind of some of that, and did that for about 20-ish episodes, right? And in the midst of that also, some of them were episodes where I had interviewed people, and basically I was talking and having one-on-one conversations with people, different people. So that was like the first iteration when it first kicked off. And then that was like that was actually, to put a timeline on this, which is kind of wild, but that was actually in 2018. I was in 2018, and a few years after that, about a year after that, and then the next few years after that, I would try different versions of it as I was just trying to get my footing. So it was a big move. So I actually moved to Florida from Connecticut, and there was just a lot of shifting going on. Like I said, I was shifting out of music a little bit, and I was moving into video, and I was in a space that I didn't know. And so the pod itself didn't really, I was trying to find time and figure out when and how and what I would talk about. It was very interesting. So I did it some when I was down here originally in Florida when I first got down here. And then, then I stopped. And then 2020, it was kind of trying to figure out what we're going to do with it. Just a version of that. And then even as recent as last year, there were some versions that I did kind of talking about some things and trying a different format and different things like that. But I realized I just need impromptu, unscripted kind of vibe where I just need to chat. And that's what we're doing. If you choose to follow with us, that's what we're doing all 2026, Lord willing. That's what we're doing. I'm trying to create a space to be able to chat and process things in real time, because I think there's a value in that. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like practically, but what can you expect as the listener? As a listener, here's what you can expect. I'm going to borrow from my uncle, Michael Todd. That's not my uncle. That's a joke. But I'm going to borrow from Pastor Mike Todd, which I like the way that he put it. He says, what you can expect from this is me to be hot, right? Hot. Now that's an acronym, okay? The acronym stands for humble, open, and transparent. Honest, open, and transparent, right? That's what I'm trying to create, a space where we aren't just a space where answers aren't just being given, but the process of getting to answers are being explored, right? A place where you can come with things half figured out to try to get some dots and help things to kind of connect. And honestly, outside of that, the being honest, open, and transparent, I don't know. I don't know. Like anything, it's going to take some time to kind of work this out and flesh it out and see what it becomes. So that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm That's what I'm looking to explore this 2026. Weekly conversations. And as we go on, we will kind of morph and figure out what it becomes. If you know anything about me, I like versions, I like iterations of things. So I'm not here trying to have it all figured out. It may not look like this. It may not, the format may look different. Different things may happen at different times, but that is the journey that we are on. So with that being said, I want to jump into something that I've been kind of processing lately and kind of thinking about as of late. And it's that phrase. It comes back to that phrase. What do you want from me? Right? What do you want from me? Let me tell you why that phrase is interesting to me. I think the phrase is interesting to me because even as I kind of hear myself kind of share the story and the trajectory of how we are at this point that we've come to, I feel like there's just been many iterations of my life. What do I mean by that? I just mean that whether it was the season of doing music, whether it was the season of doing video, whether it's the season of now doing ministry and all of the things that come with that. There's just been different seasons in my life. And I think that me and God has had this back and forth, right? Try to keep the dialogue going. But I feel like God and I have had this back and forth. And as we navigate this back and forth, I think that consciously I have had expectations for certain things to go in certain ways and things to move in certain ways and do that, right? I've had expectations that I know about, and then I've had covert expectations, right? So there's the expectations of, yeah, man, I would like to see this happen and this happen in life and this do and navigate that. But then also expectations I didn't necessarily know I had until the thing wasn't happening, right? I wonder if you've ever experienced that or know what I mean, right? You have this expectation, but you didn't know it was an expectation. So I feel like I've had expectations with God. Just this word. Let's sit on that word for a second. Expectations. And I think expectations could be a good thing because I think expectations allow us to be able to set goals. I think expectations allow us to be able to dream, to be able to envision, to be able to be expectant for something, right? I think expectations can give us hope. So expectations in itself, I think, is a good thing. But I think as I've kind of journeyed that, I think expectations can also make things a little bit hard. And I think as I kind of debrief my 2025, I think that there were times and there were moments where I found myself coming back to this phrase, what do you want from me? And I was specifically talking to God, right? I'm talking to God. I'm talking to God, and the tone wasn't such as just, what do you want from me? I think it starts there. But I think if I could be honest with you, if I could be honest with you, I think there was a little bit more frustration in there. What do you want? But I think, Lord knows, I think there was some frustration in there. And as one lives life and carries on and does what it does, I think, I found myself coming back to this phrase of what do you want from me? And I was wrestling with this because I'm just like, man, what? With the last time that this happened to me, I'm just like, man, you know what? Look, what am I really trying to communicate when I say that? Like, why am I saying that? Like, I'm saying that out of the blue. I'm saying that in moments where I just feel like things aren't clicking. Like, but why am I actually saying that? What am I actually trying to say? And here's what I've kind of come to, the best way that I can put it right now into words of what I think I was trying to say. I think what I was trying to say is, what do I need to do for things to go my way? Let that sit. I think in my frustration at times, I think what I was trying to say is it's like, man, like, what do I need to do? Like, what do I need to do for things to go my way? What do you want from me? What else do I have to do? How else do I have to do for this to be true, or for that to be true, or for this to be true, or for whatever to be true? And it's just like, what do you want from me? Right? I feel like you may or may not have found yourself in a season like that, right? Where you're just like, man, like what do I need to do, God? What do I need to do for things to go the way that, what do I need to, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm moving this, I'm doing that, we're trying this, we're doing that, we're doing that. What do I need to do for things to go my way? I want to finally be able to, I don't know, spend more time with my kids or whatever the case may be. And I'm trying to work my schedule and this and that and this and that. But what do I need to do to be there in the way I want to be there? Or, man, I really want to work this job or do this thing or do this creative thing or do this hobby thing. Like, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing, what else do I need to do? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? What do I need to do for things to go my way? I feel like that's a real phrase. And I feel like here are some of the things. Here's how I think that we may be feeling when we feel that. Here's how I feel like I am feeling when I feel that. Right? I think the first thing I feel is I feel powerless. Right? I think we feel powerless in that moment, right? What do you want from me, or what do I need for things to be my way? Like that's language of someone like that believes that outcomes are controlled outside. Like, God, I've done everything I can. Why aren't you doing what I want you to do? Now, peep that. I didn't say what you want to do, but why aren't you doing what I want you to do? And I'm saying this is for myself. I'm saying this for myself. That's how I be feeling sometimes, right? And I think the frustration that looms or that builds to get me to a point to even say something like that is I feel powerless. I feel like I don't have control. All right? I feel like I don't have leverage. And I know yeah, I just think that's real, man. You feel powerless in a moment of just as one navigates and asking that question of what do you want from me? You feel powerless. I feel powerless. I think another thing that we might feel when we're navigating something like this, or we feel like we've come to a place where we're saying things like this is we may think that success with God or finding success with God or a relationship with God or in the life that we want is about appeasing God, right? We may think that there is a hidden formula to getting the life that we want. Woo! I'm speaking to me. right? Sometimes we think there's this hidden formula to getting the life that we want. So, God, I did this, or I did this for you, or I did this, or I'm living my life in this way, or God, I'm living better than this person, or I'm doing better than that, right? We think that because, or I'm doing my Devo time, and I'm doing, or I'm spending, or I'm trying to Sabbath, and I'm trying to, like, we think that success, our success is derived, the success that we get, the life that we want, we get that through achieving and through doing and trying to appease God. All right, just tell me. Essentially, what we're saying is, think back to the phrase, "What do you want from me?" I'm essentially saying, man, just tell me what you want me to do, so that things can look like I want them to look. Tell me what you want me to do. Tell me what you want me. Just tell me what you want me to do, so that, and then, I don't know what to do with that. I think that goes right into the next thing. It reveals this transactional mindset that we sometimes have with God and with others, right? It reveals this transactional mindset. And transactional isn't always bad, right? But I've had to learn this from me, right? I think I can sometimes get in a space where I'm just like, man, I like things to be fair. I like things to be what they need to be, right? So I think sometimes when it comes to this transactional mindset, I just want to know, like, hey man, if I do X, then I'll get this. Like, I like formulas. I like things. I like logic. Okay? I like logic. I like 2 + 2 = 4. Okay? I like things that make sense. Anything that does not make sense, I don't want it around me. Okay? I like logic. Oh, man. So when it comes to this transactional mindset that we sometimes have with God, it's like, man, God, if I just did this, then give me this. Like, just tell me, like it should just be do this, get this. And here's what I'm just coming to realize, like, that's not true. And I can say that with a smile on my face right now, but let me tell you something. That is extremely frustrating for me. Someone that likes logic. Someone that likes logic. Someone that likes things to make the sense that it's supposed to make. I'm not trying to figure it out. I don't like 1 + 1 = 2. I like that. I like the certainty of that. So at times I have this transactional mindset that leads me to, man, what do I need to do? Just tell me what I need to do? And that's not the case. It's not the case, y'all. Because when we slip into that transactional mindset, it reveals that our trust is low with him, right? We don't trust his will. We don't trust his path. We don't trust the journey that he has us on. And can I be honest with you? Sometimes it don't feel like it's supposed to feel. I don't feel like it's always supposed to feel. Which brings me to the final thing, which is we're not actually asking for control in those moments, right? Just tell me what you want me to do, right? We're not actually asking for control in those circumstances. We're asking for fairness. We're asking for predictability, right? I want to know that my effort gives me something. I want to know how to beat the game. I want to know that if I do this, it will earn me this. Yeah. Woo! I want to know if I do this, it will bring me this. And that's not wild. That's not crazy to ask for, but that expressed poorly is not a good thing, right? But here's the thing that we also know, though. And this is something I've just been learning as I go, navigating life, but life is not fair. Life is not always fair. Life is not always predictable, right? So sometimes I put all of my wants and my desires and my how I want it to go on God. And I'm not asking for control, but I'm asking for fairness. I'm asking for the equation. I'm asking for logic. I don't know why I keep saying it like that, but I think it's super funny. I'm asking for logic. But can I tell you something? It's not always logical. It's not always logical. So, what do we do with that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think what's come to me is this thought, which is in those moments, asking myself, am I trying to get my way? Am I trying to win? Or am I trying to understand what God may be doing in my life at that certain time? Because truth is, what God may be doing in my life and what he wants to do may not look like what I want him to do. What God may be doing in your life or wants to do may not look like what you want him to do. So if that's true, how will you respond? How will you respond? Well, I think that's enough for today. Man, I'm super excited to kind of just have this space to be able to journey with y'all and process with y'all, and just see what the Lord might continue to do in our lives. Remember, weekly conversations with people that are walking forward with questions instead of maps, right? People that don't have it all figured out, in a place where it doesn't all make sense, but are willing to start anyway. That's what this is. That's what even me and my response to doing this, hopping back on here. I don't know. I haven't fleshed it out. I don't have this full big on plan on what it's going to be. I just know it starts here. It got to start here. So I am excited to continue this. You have an amazing rest of your week. And we'll continue this conversation, another conversation, next time. My name is Josh.